What if I told you that the man who built a $50 billion crypto empire was once so shy he could barely order pizza over the phone? Meet Brian Armstrong, the awkward kid from San Jose who accidentally became the king of cryptocurrency. And trust me, this story has more plot twists than a Netflix thriller. While everyone was busy making fun of imaginary internet money, this quiet software engineer was building what would become the biggest crypto exchange on the planet. But here's the kicker. He almost gave up 3 times. And honestly, he probably should have, because what happened next defied every rule in the startup playbook. Act 1, the unlikely hero. Picture this: San Jose, California. A shy kid named Brian Armstrong who preferred computers to people. We're talking about someone so introverted that group projects in school were basically his personal nightmare. But here's where it gets interesting. While other kids were playing video games, Brian was already coding. Not because he was some child prodigy with a master plan to revolutionize finance. No, he just found talking to computers way easier than talking to humans. Classic introvert move, right? But being shy in Silicon Valley? That's like being a vegetarian at a barbecue competition. And Brian was about to learn this lesson the hard way. Act 2, the crazy idea. Fast forward to 2012. Brian's working at Airbnb. Decent job, decent pay, decent life. Everything was decent. But then he stumbled upon something called Bitcoin. And this is where our shy programmer made his first mistake. He actually read the white paper. Most people took one look at cryptocurrency and thought internet monopoly money. Brian saw the future of finance. The problem? Convincing literally anyone else of this was like explaining TikTok to your grandparents. So what does our introverted hero do? He quits his stable job to chase what everyone called fake internet coins. His friends thought he'd lost his mind. His family was concerned. And investors? Well, let's just say they weren't exactly lining up with checkbooks. But if you think the rejections were brutal, wait until you hear about the technical disasters that almost killed Coinbase before it even started. Act 3, when everything went wrong. Here's what nobody tells you about being a startup founder. For every success story you hear, there are about 1,000 everything's on fire moments that don't make it into the Hollywood version. Brian's first attempt at building Coinbase? Let's call it a learning experience. The website crashed more often than a Windows 95 computer. Customer support was basically Brian frantically answering emails at 3 a.m. And the regulatory landscape? Imagine navigating a minefield while blindfolded. The cherry on top? Bitcoin's price was more volatile than your ex's mood swings. One day, Brian was a genius. The next day, he was the guy who bet everything on magic internet money. Most people would have thrown in the towel right here, but Brian had something most founders don't: the stubborn persistence that only comes from being told no your entire life. Act 4, the breakthrough moment. You know that moment in every underdog movie where the hero finally gets their shot? Brian's came in the most unexpected way possible. While other crypto companies were trying to be cool and edgy, Brian did something revolutionary. He made cryptocurrency boring. Yeah, you heard that right. He turned digital rebellion into digital banking. Clean interface, simple buying process, actual customer service. It was like taking the Wild West of crypto and putting it in a nice, comfortable suburban neighborhood. And guess what? People loved it. Suddenly, your mom could buy Bitcoin without accidentally funding a cyber criminal. Coinbase became the training wheels for an entire generation of crypto investors. But just when you think this is where Brian rides off into the sunset with his billions, the story takes another incredible turn. Act 5, against all odds. Here's the thing about building a crypto empire. Everyone wants to shut you down. Banks hated Coinbase because it threatened their monopoly. Regulators couldn't figure out what to do with it. And crypto purists thought Brian was selling out to the man. Brian was literally fighting a war on 3 fronts. Traditional finance wanted him dead. Crypto anarchists wanted him gone. And the government wanted to regulate him into oblivion. But remember, this is the same shy kid who learned to survive by being smarter. While everyone was screaming about cryptocurrency, Brian was quietly building bridges. He hired lawyers before hackers. He chose compliance over chaos. And slowly, methodically, he turned Coinbase from a startup that nobody took seriously into a company that nobody could ignore. The result? Well, let's just say our shy programmer from San Jose had the last laugh. Act 6. The Empire Strikes Back. Today, Coinbase is valued at over $50 billion. That's more than some small countries' entire economies. Brian Armstrong went from being too shy to network at startup events to running one of the most influential financial companies in the world. But here's what I find absolutely incredible. He's still that same quiet, thoughtful guy. No flashy cars, no private islands, no controversial Twitter rants. Just a programmer who saw the future before anyone else and had the patience to build it, brick by brick. The shy kid who couldn't order pizza became the guy who made it possible for millions of people to order their financial future. So the next time someone tells you that you're too quiet, too different, or too weird to succeed, remember Brian Armstrong. Sometimes the best way to change the world isn't by being the loudest person in the room, it's by being the smartest. If this story inspired you, smash that subscribe button and let me know in the comments. What crazy idea are you working on that everyone thinks is impossible? Because who knows? You might just be the next shy kid who builds an empire. And hey, if you want to hear more stories about underdogs who changed everything, I've got plenty more where this came from. Trust me, the business world is full of misfits who refuse to fit in, and that's exactly what made them legendary.